Hey there, Seb the Realtor here. In this video, I'm going to talk about the hot topic of offer expiration. If you are making an offer or receiving an offer to buy or sell real property in the state of California, you probably don't know what you need to know about offer expiration. So you're definitely going to want to watch this video. You know, I sell a fair amount of real estate, and one thing that buyers don't understand and sellers don't really understand, and even actually many realtors don't understand, is how the offer expiration works. So when you make an offer to buy a house, you are going to be using a standardized form, which will usually be the California Association of Realtors Residential Purchase Agreement, or perhaps you might be using the PRDS form, which they use on the peninsula, you know, San Mateo County, or maybe San Francisco. They have their own San Francisco Association of Realtors purchase offer, but all of those forms would have an offer expiration date. And a lot of people, including a lot of buyers and agents and even sellers, don't understand what that expiration date actually means. So listen, if you are a seller and you receive an offer on your home, you should look immediately and see what the expiration date of that offer is. By default, the California Association of Realtors gives you until 5 p.m. on the third day after the offer is made to accept the offer. Now that is the default time period. The buyer could shorten that, could make it 2 days or 1 day, or even as short as a few hours, which is why you need to pay attention to that offer expiration date. Now, when you receive an offer as a seller, there are 4 things that you can do. The first thing you can do is do nothing. You are not even required to make any kind of response to the buyer whatsoever. It's courteous, of course, if your agent acknowledges receipt of the offer, but after that, you, the seller, have no obligation to do anything with that offer whatsoever. The next thing you could do is you could reject the offer. You can actually initial the offer, say reject it, send it back to the buyer. But in fact, that doesn't happen very often because there's not really much benefit to the seller at all to actually reject an offer other than perhaps to send a message to the buyer of some kind. The third thing that you could do as a seller is that you could make a counter offer to the buyer's offer. And the fourth thing you could do, the last thing you could do when you get an offer, is you could actually accept the offer. So when it comes to the expiration date, the only thing that you cannot do past the expiration date is accept the offer. Once the offer has expired, you can no longer accept it. But very few people actually end up accepting an offer the way it is written when it comes in. There is usually something about an offer that should be fine-tuned in the form of a counter offer. And what many buyers and sellers don't understand is that you can make a counter offer on an offer that expired a minute ago or a year ago. It doesn't really matter. And the reason for that is because a counter offer is a rejection of the prior offer and all of its terms. One of those terms is the offer expiration date. Now, when you make a counter offer to somebody, your counter offer will also have an expiration date. So you can take an expired offer, maybe it expired a month ago or a day ago or a minute ago, make a counter offer, doesn't matter. And your counter offer will be a whole brand new offer from you, the seller, perhaps to the buyer. And your offer will have its own expiration date. Now the buyer, once they receive that counter offer, while it does have an expiration date, they're free to ignore your expiration date too, because they could just let it expire. They could reject it. They could accept it, or they can make a counter offer to it long past your actual expiration date, just like you can. So that's one thing that's really very important to understand, is that you can make a counter offer to an expired offer at any time. Now, as a listing agent, I find that many times buyers agents will try to pressure the seller into accepting their offer because they will put a short expiration time period on that offer. And I always kind of give a chuckle because really, there's very few offers that are so good that my clients would just accept anyway. Almost always they're going to be making a counter offer, especially when many times these offers aren't that great. So I'm being pressured to take a not very good offer in a short period of time. And I can't think of why a buyer would attempt to pressure a seller to accept a not great offer in an abbreviated period of time. And as a seller, I can't think of why you would want to accept a not great offer under duress. But one thing I need to tell you about the offer expiration date is that while you can counter an expired offer, you can't counter a withdrawn offer. So if you make an offer or a counter offer, it does have that expiration date, but at any time you can send the other party a withdrawal of an offer. So you can withdraw that offer, and once you have withdrawn the offer, that offer then is null and void. So if you do that, that's one way to just completely curtail your offer expiration date. You can actually make it expire at any time you want to, which is why I say the offer expiration date is really much more like a psychological tool than anything else, because there are so many different ways around the actual offer expiration date. It's just a way to sort of emotionally or psychologically pressure the other party into taking action. Now, a lot of times when a agent will submit an offer, they'll say, we are requesting a seller response by, say, 3 p.m. tomorrow or whatever. But in the actual contract itself, there's no like line saying requested response time. There's only offer expiration time. So they'll say it's a request, but really what it means is that their offer is dead at that time. But again, not to worry, because you, the seller, you can respond to a dead offer with a counter offer at any time. It just can't be a void offer, an offer that has been withdrawn. Or again, if you make a counter offer to an offer, remember, making that counter offer, that is a rejection of the prior offer. So once you've countered an offer, you cannot counter it again. That's a very important thing to be aware of. But I always want to caution you that there are some times where you really do want to honor that expiration time. Like, let's just say that you have been negotiating maybe for several days or for several different go-arounds with different buyers, and you have one buyer and they are finally saying, okay, I'm going to agree to your terms, but we're only going to do this if you will accept my offer within a certain amount of time. If you've gone around and around with a buyer and they are basically agreeing to what you have proposed, but they're putting a time limit on that, or they're making a counter offer which is even better than what you have proposed, and you think that it is not going to be able to be beaten by any other buyer, and there is a quick expiration time on that, my advice is probably, if that is probably the best offer that you're going to get, accept that offer. Don't run the risk of having it expire and then having to turn around and then counter them on some minor point, if only to change the expiration date, because that offer will then be dead and gone. So know a good offer when you have it. If it has an expiration date, do your best to honor it, but by no means should you ever feel pressured to take an offer until you are good and ready to actually accept it, regardless of what that expiration date says. All right, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you found it useful in some way. And if you did find it useful, I'm guessing you might also find some of these videos over here to be of use as well. So please do check those out. All right, that's all I have for this one. Thank you so very much for watching. And please stay tuned.